to start the stream. That was the issue.
Oh my
I give-
god. Alright.
There, we're live on YouTube. I dislike you, YouTube. You can go to what is that thing you always say? No,
What, Karzani?
Go to Karzani.
that's it.
Yeah,
Thank
okay.
you.
Hey YouTube,
Okay,
go get shot.
Let's continue with the introductions here. Could we get Jack?
Yes, Jack is up next.
Yep. Hi, I'm Jack Fan One. I have absolutely no bearing on the mechanical side of this thing. I'm just in charge of document design. Also, I'm in charge of internal relations. So if anything happens where, you know, someone has to get their ass whooped, I'm in charge of that.
That's it.
I'm probably really quiet.
A little bit, but hi there. If I am Lahari, I am the senior executive of Red Star Games. All of this is my fault. I am sorry in advance.
And on that high note, we go to Lex.
Yeah, Electronic is up next.
Hello everyone, like they said, I'm Lectonic. I'm the one currently hosting and managing the stream. For all of you on YouTube, we are sorry for what happened there. I didn't realize we had to push a button. I'm jaded about that. I created an event just so I could click a button and run. But no, I had to log in, click another button, and things were good to go.
Oh god, yeah, YouTube is just absolutely broken, man.
Mhm.
So, I guess at that point it's my turn, isn't it?
That it
Hi, I'm Madanui 606. I play that nail toe of water that everyone's angry about. I'm one of the founding fathers here at RSG, and it's equally my fault that all this is happening.
This is very true.
Founding father sounding kind of pretentious there, my boy.
Well, you know what? If we could have gotten
Jelly,
the
because
third
you ain't
one
one of
in,
us.
No. If we could have gotten the third one in here, we would have. But he's off doing his own nuclear BS. So next up, we have the man, the myth, the legend, Umatu, Matt Griffith.
Can everyone hear me? Because I was hearing that the stream was pretty quiet. At least the
You're a bit quiet, yeah.
You're a bit
You
on
are
the
quiet.
smaller side, yeah.
I'll turn them up on my end.
Yeah, if you could bump that up, like. Let me know once you're good to go.
Okay, I bumped you up to 200.
Cool. Yeah, so I'm the Umatu. You guys probably know me from TTV's G3 project. I'd say I broke onto the scene about a year ago. Back in November, Red Star Games kind of got me in the loop, and I've been doing massive designs and concept art for them. So pretty much everything you see on the website is by my hand.
Yeah. And it's such a good website. I've had so many people tell me, yeah, the website, it's so pretty. Like, it's very functional and stuff. So, yeah, you did a great job.
Okay, so on that note, we're gonna talk about probably the least high-profile person on the project. My name is Petrus. I am head of the bestiary and 3D modeling over at Red Star Games. And I also will be playing the Toa of Fire Fotaki for Shadow of the Colosseum. He is not Iruni. Please stop saying he's Iruni.
He's red. He's not Aruni.
He's red. He's not. It's
Everyone who has a quality is Iruini. Dekar from 2007, yeah, he's just green Iruini.
Rooney is green.
But, yeah,
Also,
more green.
Also, he meaning Defalac.
I think part of the problem is you went with a
Oh, yeah.
gold Walsey. Like, you're really doubling down at that point.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have a spear.
He does not. He has a disc launcher. How can people confuse it? I don't know.
I think
He's red and
we
he
can
has a
all
disc
agree
launcher.
that Fotaki is just Iron Man.
Yeah, he looks like Iron Man. Yeah, Sakota7 on the Twitch chat says, the website is great. Thank you.
Yeah, that is very much appreciated. We we very much flew by the
put
seat
a
of
lot
our
of
pants
work into
on some last minute decisions with it, but I think it turned out fabulous.
Yeah.
It does need some optimization. I know we've gotten some complaints about the website being fairly slow. That's because
Yeah.
everything up there is a PNG right now, which has no compression to it. So your computer's trying to load like 4 or 5 4K images at once, and that is kind of why it's slow. But
Yeah.
We definitely plan on optimizing that so you can actually use it on your phone.
Okay, Swart is saying that he has to max his volume to even hear us. I'm going to increase my volume.
That's probably just me with my setup. Give me just a moment.
Yeah, please take care of that, Lek.
Okay.
Thank
Okay.
you, Lek.
Everybody,
Go
watch your ears. I'm normally much louder than this.
Mhm.
Yeah, I had like 60% usually.
Yeah. Bartlin in the chat says, "Guys, I love you, but you need to check everyone's sound levels." Yeah, we're doing that.
It's
Thanks.
not
Mhm.
It's my fault. I apologize. I'm working on fixing it. So
First
Send your
stream.
hate mail. Send your hate
The,
mail to
these-
Lectonic at Red Star Game. No, I'm kidding.
These are the
no,
things
it's
that happen.
lectonic at
uh,
lectonic.com. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
I'm
You can
trying
also
my
find
hardest
me on
not
Twitch.
to touch my mixing board.
Add puppies.supplies.
Yeah. The Mockingbird says on the YouTube chat, the website just straight up doesn't work in Safari for me. So
I
yeah.
don't, do any of our developers have a Mac to work with in the first place?
No, I'm on desktop PC.
I have a MacBook from 2008. That's about it. And on my iPad, yeah, it just doesn't open the website either.
I'll tell you what, we'll look into that. I think it's fully admit that Apple products have been a bit of a blind spot for us. So we'll take a look at it here in a little while.
Mm-hmm.
And then Swart is
Apple hates users.
throwing some shade, saying not to use Safari. I'm not gonna make that. I'm not gonna make that same assertion, but I tacitly agree with him. Cough, cough. So I think let's get into the actual Q&A bit of this Q&A.
Yeah, okay,
Unless,
so where do we want to start?
I think that it would be appropriate to start with the forum posts. I know that we answered some of those in the forums themselves, but those are some pretty important questions over there that I feel could probably use some answering.
Okay, do we just want to start at the top?
Yeah, let's start with you, Mata. Let's talk about game mechanics from JT Forrestal.
Yep. And remember, you can access the Red Star Games forums at forum.redstargames.org. The link is in the Twitch chat, and I'm gonna put it in the YouTube chat shortly.
Already done.
Okay, thanks.
So yeah, we got a question about the game mechanics from JT Forrestal. I swear I can read.
Just barely.
But yeah, so I believe we said before the mechanics are based on D&D 5e as well as Pathfinder. Predominantly, there's bits and pieces stolen from other systems as we see fit, but predominantly it's based on 5e and Pathfinder. Is there anything more you want to add to that, Lahari, since you're the other mechanics guy here?
So I don't mind going into a little bit more in depth on this because this is one of the few things that I don't think has much potential to change without some significant delays. So the character progression, I'm sure, has better analogs than I am really capable of giving you to other tabletop games. However, we actually did take a little bit of a slightly video gamey approach to things. Saying that it is Skyrim-esque might be a little bit, might be giving it a little bit more complicated, make it sound more complicated than it actually is.
That's not.
Functionally, basically, we have a system of, I think we call them archetypes. Yeah, we call them archetypes. Things like melee, ranged, defense stuff. And
Well, actually, those are called leafs. Leafs have archetypes in them.
Yeah. And just a quick clarification, Bardlin in the Twitch chat asks, what do you mean by based on? Will you have your own rule book, or do we need to get D&D books?
We will get to that in just a minute.
You will not need to get your own books. That I can tell you that right now.
When we say
you won't
when
need to
we
be buying
say,
anything from Wizards of the Coast. That much is for sure.
Yeah, Wizards of the Coast will not be involved in this. They are a key inspiration for us, as is the case with most tabletop games. However, we are going to be developing our own books to distribute to our community for free.
Yeah.
And while we're here, Morgie on the YouTube chat says, is Umaru doing some live art?
Yes.
That is exactly what's happening.
It's going a little bit slower than I wanted because I'm having some technical issues. My computer died like 2 days ago, so I'm kind of at my wits' end. But I'm definitely trying to.
Way to
get that
go, Matt. Way to go.
Man, I'm improvising.
So returning to mechanics question.
Yeah.
so-
So basically, the underneath each archetype, and they do have it flipped. It is archetypes, then leaf beneath it.
No, it's leaf then archetype. I guarantee you.
Well, then that is a typo on one of our ends, and we will discuss that offline. But
Been that way for
functionally,
months.
we have groupings of similar similar class type things, and as you level up in each of those, every single level you get a feature per that, we'll call it archetype for now, per that archetype that you're getting. So specifically, like Blade Fighter is going to be one of the ones that we're going to be putting out in the red box. That is focused on using bladed one-handed weapons. So every level within the 6 levels that you can take in Blade Fighter, you get something that makes you better at doing that. To use probably the simplest one that we have available to us.
Probably the most what might be the most controversial decision we made. Archetypes or leaves, depending on if we flip that, because apparently that's a thing. Only go to level 6.
Yes, yes, they do.
Now, this is on purpose. We don't expect you to stop playing at level 6 because that would be dumb.
That would be really dumb. Yes.
The expectation is that you have to take a different archetype or a different leaf. I'm gonna stick with archetype. If you've ever played D&D or Pathfinder, you probably have noticed multi-class characters tend to be more interesting. They tend to be more powerful, more interesting, and because you're having to think about what your character wants to do and how to optimize towards that. And so our system kind of forces you to multi-class. So you're going to have to think about what your character wants and what your character wants to do and how to do that. Because by the time you hit level 7, you're going to need to find it. See, Ulti's backing me up on the leaf archetype thing, by the way.
I feel like that's sloppy note-taking on my part. So for the reasoning behind this slight disagreement, and yeah, I'm going to put even more of a spotlight on it because I'm terrible, is I've actually been away from my systems and away from the group for about a week now due to some personal tragedies that have occurred in my life. But next week I am going to be back in the Kingdom of Bahrain, where all of my crap is, to help fully and finally execute on the on producing and releasing the materials that we have all promised you.
I mean, we were working out last night, so
yeah, I mean,
we're already...
yeah, it's already happening, but I'm counting this as time off, even if I am working.
Fair enough. But yeah, let's see.
Right,
Is there anything else we need covering?
I don't think there's anything else we can do with game mechanics. I think we should move on to the next forum question, and then maybe take a break from those and go to some of the other sources of questions we've received.
Actually,
all right, so the next one that we have...
on the forum, well, it is a forum question, but it specifically relates to one of the questions asked in chat. Someone asked, will we be releasing a physical version of the book? No, we will get sued.
We will get sued super duper hardcore. Honestly, we walk a bit of a tightrope on that as it is.
We would love to be able to produce physical copies of our content for you, but there are extreme costs that come with that, not the least of which are the legal implications, because no longer would we just be providing a free game to the community. We would be trying to make a profit off of content that is not our own, that being the property Bionicle. So,
which it does get a little bit. It does get a little bit as we move away from established lore elements, as we flesh our own expansion of the canon out, which we can cover that a little bit more in the future. We do make ourselves a little bit more comfortable in the quote-unquote fanfic element of things, where we're producing stories that just happen to be set in a universe, not actively using the major intellectual property of Lego and Bionicle. So just we've done a lot of homework here on making sure that we don't get screwed in this element. So hopefully that holds fast.
By the way, that question was from Martin Collects on the forum, and he has a few more questions. Next one being, what exactly is included in the red box?
So, what exactly is included in the red box will be the fundamentals of how to kind of get started. So, if anybody here is a real old school tabletop gamer like I like to pretend I am, the red box actually takes its name more or less directly from TSR's first lines of D&D products, which only really let the players and the dungeon master get a party to around about level 4, level 8, something along those lines. There were a couple of different boxes that one was basic, one was advanced, and then so on and so forth. So ideally, all of the materials would be ready to get a party to level 6. Is the idea. At the very least, for the one was basic, narrative one was advanced, and then that will be coming out just slightly after the actual red box material itself, because that is mostly my umbrella, and again, due to personal things that are going on in my life, I haven't been able to sit down and write quite as much on that as I wanted to. So, but yeah, we'll be doing the basic rule set, which will include some of the basics about the archetype system. A bestiary sample, a good chunk of our Kanohi catalog at this point, and so some other basics about just how to play the game.
Can I insert a question from the TTV sponsor chat?
Oh,
one moment.
Sure.
I want to add a couple notes on that red box. Two things. One, the red box. It's going to be very plain. There will be no artwork in that document. It is a pre-release, basically. It's a playtest rule set. There will be a more complete rule set later on that is designed to be way more professional looking. It's designed to look like a D&D book with artwork and all that stuff. That's why we sought out Umetu to begin with. That will be coming later. Don't get your hopes up for too much artwork in the red box. There's probably not going to be any. It's just rules.
Okay.
Okay. Go ahead with sponsor chat.
Before we move on to that, one thing, Barden's asked another question over in the stream chat. He's asking about how we have to, the community would have to unofficially make prints to distribute as physical custom books. The way that we are going to be distributing the red box, as I understand it, is a PDF format through our website. It's not necessary to print. You can access it, digitally if you would prefer that way. We may, I'll defer this to our higher ups real quick.
We will not be printing anything. That is way too much of a legal tightrope. If you want to print the PDF, really go for it. Yeah, it's also really expensive.
It is.
Actually, well, no. We'll get to the question from sponsor chat before we go with any fun. Go ahead, Jack.
Okay, so Political Slime, who you all know used to be part of the mod squad at TTV, he wants to know what are the full list of class options. I'm sure we already answered this question, but maybe it'd be nice to go over that again.
Oh boy.
So
full list?
The full list. I think we expanded on it since we originally came to a quorum. So that's.
I can name a few for you.
Yeah. We can name a couple. We're not gonna give you an inclusive list. Write this down.
There's of course the Blade Fighter. I believe the two-handed weapon fighter is also in there. The Great Weapon Fighter.
Yeah.
I forget the exact name of it. I think Great Weapon is what we settled on. There's a couple of rage weapon paths. Like Gunslinger is one of them. I think Sniper was on the list. There's some archetypes in the Scout Leaf, including a Mobility archetype. Stuff in Defense Leaf. I think there's a Shield archetype that we had slated for this. There is a couple classes in the Elementalist archetype that have to do with the elemental system. Their names are still fluid. There are, I think, 2 of the Kanohi Fighter classes coming out, or archetypes coming out. That being the Activator and the Suva Warrior. That's just a few of them.
Yeah.
So, that is a good chunk.
On the YouTube chat, ER Lewis 1111 said, Hey everyone, what did I miss? Before you joined, we basically just talked about the game mechanics a little bit. If you miss anything, we will release an FAQ shortly after, like a couple days after this live stream. And then also Noah asks, will species other than Toa be playable in this system?
Eventually.
Not in the red box. The red box only includes Toa. Later on, there will be many others. There'll be Matoran, there'll be Turaga. There'll definitely be Skakti, because we know plenty of people want that. The red box will only include Toa.
Yes.
We're releasing the full list of elemental powers, right? Or we're releasing the rule set to make your own character, right?
We are releasing only the base 6 elements in the red box for similar reasons. The full release will also contain the secondary elements.
Are we releasing the instructions on how to make your own character in case anybody wants to do that?
Yeah, there will be the list of archetypes in the red box. There will be the different elemental rules for all 6 elements. There will be pre-generated characters for the Toa Metru, I believe is who we decided on.
Yes, it is.
A blank character sheet and instructions on how to make a character if you don't want to play one of the Toa Metru, which who could blame you?
Yeah.
So low key, if you want
whiny mask maker.
low key, if you want to play Gatorian, just get rid of the elemental powers.
And then for masks, if I recall, we have the Mata masks, the Metro masks, the Toa Haga masks, the Ainika masks, the base 6 elemental masks, and then a select other few.
Yeah, we do have hex sets of potpourri masks that just kind of we felt like they would be too good not to put up.
Yeah. Well, and some of them are like the player characters from the Shadow of Colosseum, which we felt it would be unfair not to put those masks in the red box.
Yeah, it would be weird if we didn't include the Mask of Psychometry when our Toa of Water wears one occasionally.
Yeah.
TL Lacan, or T Lacan. There will be no non-mata elements in the red box. We just went over that. The red box, we're trying to get it to as soon as possible. The secondary elements cause some problems.
Yes, they are difficult for us to balance. You should expect them.
They will be a
not
thing.
Soon.
They're just not going to be in the red box. They will be in a later release. I promise you, they will be out there eventually.
Yep. And Ginkgo from the r/Bionicle Lego Discord server says, Aloha. Hi, Ginkgo.
It's the gank.
It's the game.
It's not the gank. It's another gank.
Returning to forum questions, once again from Martin Collects, will those who spend money in the Forge get any special perks? Not that I know of.
We have
you get masks.
We have
You get masks.
Yeah, you will get masks. There's that.
So, can I jump in here real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
One of the draws that we were wanting to do was to actually release rule sets for masks and release the physical mask at the same time. Just starting out, we were a little bit farther ahead with the mask releases, so we're getting more physical copies out before we have rules for them. But down the road, we do want to sync those up. So if you get the rule set for a mask and then you require that mask in the game, you'll be able to self-mock it in the real world as well.
Okay, ER Lewis 1111 asks, this may have been asked already, but what should we expect for pricing on the red box? It's completely free.
Absolutely free.
$0. You will not pay a cent for anything directly related to the red box or any of our game material.
Yeah.
Nothing that we produce for Bionicle, anyways.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
Sokoda7 asks, hey, I asked some questions last week, but after the forum was changed, they aren't there anymore. Should I ask them again, and where?
I responded to that.
Please, either on the forum or in the chat. Chat would probably be easier for us to see at the moment.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, there was some technical difficulties with the forum. We're sorry about that. We had to switch types because the other forum wasn't cutting it.
Yeah. And if anyone wants
Remember, you can visit the forums at forums.redstargames.org.
Yep. Or it's linked on the site. And if you want more information about why we made that change, feel free to ask the question and we'll answer it if anyone's interested in that. I don't know if it's something people would be interested in, so I'll just continue sitting here quietly and watch
Mm-hmm.
You guys continue on.
Addressing a question from Nadrock on the forums. Who/what is funding the project?
That is all.
Yeah.
That'd be me, Mata, Matt, and Petrus more than anybody else.
Yeah, so currently it's come out of the pocket of Team Artaka.
Mhm.
Yep.
Mhm.
We do plan on setting up a Patreon. We actually have a lot of stuff set up already. We just aren't going to launch it until we've proved that we're worth asking for money.
Mhm.
'Cause-
Yeah, we thought it was a little bit presumptive to just be like, hey, give us money for stuff that you don't have yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
But on the flip
Speaking
side
of
that coin, we are gonna have some
money.
cool perks coming, so keep an eye out for those.
Mhm.
Speaking of money, Noah in the YouTube chat asks about the Forge. How many masks are planned in the pipeline and will be produced?
all of them.
I
All
can
of them.
answer that along with Umatu. To go into depth, we have 4 different variations of each mask. Most canon, some non-canon. We won't be re-releasing masks that have already been made by LEGO unless there is a variation that has not been created. So,
Mhm.
for example, in the case of the Metru masks, we have the Nobles, Greats, Portika masks, and the Nuvas. And the only variation of those masks that has never been released was the Nuva variant. So, that is one of the sets that we're making. Additionally, we're going to go back and we'll do kind of a similar treatment with most of the canon masks. So expect things like Kowalski Noble or Kowalski Nuva, that sort of thing. We have a total of like 500 masks planned. Not all of them are ready, of course. But
In the game design doc, in our document that we've been working on mechanics, we have over 100 masks listed.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
Yep.
there are 4 variations of each of them. So there will be a lot of masks.
there will be a lot of masks. And that
and-
pipeline shouldn't slow down for a while.
I did notice that there were a lot of questions about things like the Noble Miru and the Noble Akaku, and that hey, those already have variants like in the Fantoka line.
Can I deal with this one real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, go ahead, Laurie. Go for it.
So, in regards to the noble masks that from Cardanui specifically, the population of Matoran that live down there have not had contact with the rest of the MU for a very, very long time. As a result, I am willing to chalk it up to cultural drift. That the style of mask that is prevalent in Cardanui is not prevalent necessarily outside in the rest of the MU. That is why we are specifically redoing the noble versions of the Mata masks specifically.
Yep. And also, Sakota7 in the Twitch chat asks, will the 3D files for the masks be released so we could try to print them with our own 3D printers in ABS plastic or modify them? Will there be versions of the Titan masks like an Olmec Nuva? And how do you decide in which materials each mask is available? For example, why isn't the Mataru available as frosted and only some as metals?
I can answer this since I'm the guy behind the mask shop. So we're considering releasing 3D files. We just need to be careful with the way we do it because when we have such a large volume and I've never messed with Thingiverse or anything, so outside of Shapeways, I don't know if there's a way to give people 3D files and still make a return on them. The thing is that we need to be profitable with our masks. That's one of our primary revenue generators at this moment. So we need to be careful with that. As for the different versions of the Titan masks, yes, those are going to be made. I can say with quite a bit of certainty.
All masks, we mean every mask.
Yeah, just to also jump in on that a bit. Currently, there are no plans to release 3D files because this is the one actual source of revenue we have, and actually most of it just goes to the artists. We have been very, very slim in our markup in order to keep
really
costs
everybody
down
happy.
for consumers. Because we've seen Shapeways masks; they tend to be absurdly priced. We don't want to do that to you, so we try and keep the prices low. So to do that, our markup is very small, and most of that goes to the artists. So releasing the 3D files, those can get shared around. That would really cut into
Bite us in the
what
butt.
should be going to the artists. So
Yes.
currently there are no
Mhm.
plans to do that. If we can find a way to do it, that we can still get the money to the artists and get whatever small amount is actually going to keep making this project solvent, that'd be great. But currently, no plans for that. And yeah, as we said, all masks. Any
Yeah.
mask you've seen in G1, there will be a version of it. Actually, there will be 4 versions of it, minus whatever versions were in G1.
Yes,
Mhm.
that is the plan. The final bit of that question, Sakota, that I'm going to answer. We want for our Shapeways shop, some of our masks are in certain materials simply because we know that each mask needs to be made in all different colors of plastic, but we don't want to make them available in other materials until we know that they can pass the automated and manual checks of the normal plastic. So,
Mhm.
in the case of the I think it was the Fadaki, the Mask of Iron, which may or may not be getting a redesign at some point. We'll keep that version up on the shop, but it doesn't really match the aesthetic of any of the other masks that we're working on currently. It was made before Matu came on board, so
It was an earlier design, yeah.
yeah. But since that was the Mask of Iron, I felt it appropriate to make it in a metal material, which is why that's one of the only masks on our shop that is a metal. Once we can prove that our masks are being successfully printed consistently, we'll start to open them up to more and more materials.
Mhm.
Someone
Yep.
asked a question about Shadow of the Colosseum and our characters.
Oh, hold on. Who do we lose?
I've got the question here. Can you talk a little about Shadow of the Colosseum and your characters?
That is from Bennett Sattler.
Or Salter.
Salter.
Oh wait, isn't he in our server? The hell?
He is.
Yes.
That's
Yeah,
That's
that's-
the method.
we can answer questions from our.
I mean,
our
It's
staff
still a
if
good
there's-
question.
I
Yeah.
want to slap him.
And as a follow-up question, Noah asks, who is the main writer of the Shadow of the Colosseum campaign?
That would actually be me, Lahari. I am the game master / architect for more or less everything that's going to be going on in the campaign, barring the player interactions. Obviously, I don't know how
I
familiar
will
with
say-
the Bionicle group fandom. I don't know why that was so hard to get out. is
Writer's
with-
probably not the right word.
So yes, I know I like to do things sort of off the cuff, but I actually have made notes for this. Just
Well,
saying.
what I meant was that the story's not written beforehand. The players get
Mhm.
it's not a written story. It's a game. We'll be playing the game.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It's just
I
the
mean,
background that is getting written.
Yeah, we have a premise that is given to us, and then we try to run with it.
And we're probably going to screw it up a lot.
No,
Basically,
yeah.
world building.
RedStarGames.org. Go check it out. You can read about the story there.
But yeah, Lar, do you want to talk about the premise, actually? Since that was a question that was brought up.
yeah, sure. Just give me one moment. I'm responding to a thing in a different chat. But
Dakota7
Yeah.
asks,
Hang on.
do you plan...
So the premise of In the Shadow of the Colosseum is we are taking the campaign is going to be taking place roughly 100 years and some change after the end of hostilities in the Matoran Civil War of Metru Nui. The Archives Massacre did not really calm everything down quite as neatly as Mutran probably leads you to believe it did. So the Turaga of Metru Nui, some of which have served in the city before, several of which have not, decided it was a good idea to create a new generation of Toa to make sure that the partisan hostilities between the different Metrus did not light off again. Luckily, since most of the leadership was whisked away to the pit by Botar, they think that it's probably going to be an easy job. However, they are a little bit mistaken in that. I don't know how much more I should really put in there.
That's probably plenty.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about the characters?
Yeah, I'd love to.
All right. Shall we just go down the list and start with Mavki then? Since
Yeah, sure.
there's a nice listing here.
Yeah, and speaking of the characters,
Okay.
we have already released a character video on Kodauhi. I'm not sure how it's pronounced.
Kodawi.
Kodauhi. Okay. We already released a character video kind of explaining his backstory, and we'll be releasing videos like those for the rest of the characters over the coming weeks.
In fact, if you guys want to, we could actually watch it on stream with everyone here.
No, we'll
Maybe
do
later.
that on
No,
our own
okay.
time.
Don't
Well,
inflict
that-
that upon them.
Yeah, come
Fair
on.
enough. It's on YouTube if you want to go find it. Red Star Games channel.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess since we're starting with me, Mafki has a character video due sometime relatively soon. But the basic premise of his character is if you've played Bloodborne, he's essentially Alfred, the hunter of the Cainhurst Vile Bloods. He's zealous about the maid about Mata Nui, or his village maid. He comes from the southern continent, went to Metru Nui to try and gain favor with Mata Nui in person, or at least what he thinks is going to be Mata Nui. And most of his character, he has to kind of deal with reality and not go chasing after ghosts. Also, Kodauhi is his best friend, and he hates it when Kodauhi tells him to go to Karzani because it makes him feel sad. I honestly have nothing better than that because I want to kind of wait till the campaign goes on, since
that's
that's
fine.
probably the most map. Yeah.
Don't have to reveal all the secrets. I guess I'm next. So, okay, before I get into the actual character, I have to address some things because Kodauhi's been a bit controversial, for those who haven't noticed.
Yep.
He is a male toe of water. Some things that you need to understand: the genders don't matter optional rule was pretty much the first rule ever written down in the system. It was not even discussed. No GM wants to be the one who tells a player, well, you can only be these elements if you want to be a guy, or you can only be those elements if you want to be a girl. Like, it makes no sense from a game perspective. It's restricting, and it's the first thing that would be house ruled, so we threw that out immediately.
I would like to point out that we do have a small suite of optional rules for the very few departures from absolute canon that we have taken with these, and it does measure, I think, less than a dozen total optional rule sets, and some of them are for specific masks. So,
And they are optional. That is also worth mentioning. You don't have to play with it. We are because we want to. You don't.
So you're saying Huki Ex Maku, right?
Oh,
Love
let's-
is-
Love is
I
canon is
am
on
very
another
much
optional
a-
rule, actually.
yeah. So love is canon. That is a hill that I was willing to die on. I'm going to be completely honest here, just because I feel like it makes for more interesting character interactions.
Yeah, it really does.
Agreed.
It's an RPG. It's
Okay,
another motivation.
I'm next. Okay.
What
I
is attached to that?
haven't actually talked about the character, Petrus.
I'm sorry.
Before we go on, since we just talked a little bit about Kodauhi's video, Bennett Salter in the chat says, I did the music for his video, LOL. That he did, and thank you very much, because it's really
No, he
good
didn't.
music.
That's a lie.
He
We
did
didn't
Oh,
do
no,
the
no,
music.
For the Mafki video?
the one
Mofke
that's
video.
not out yet.
Yeah.
The one that's
I
not
thought you
out.
showed the Kodauhi video.
Never
Yeah,
mind.
he did
Never mind.
Mofke's.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Don't stab me.
So because
Oh.
it seems to be a thing that's popping up
actually,
a lot.
Logato brings up a good point. Everyone's
Oh,
angry
that's
because I did
yeah.
a guy toe of water before we did a girl anyone else. That's not true. We had 2 female Toa in our playtest, female Toa of Fire and a female Toa of Earth. They just aren't in the show because of personal reasons. That's their
And-
problem. We tried to get a girl. We did. We tried to get a girl on the show. We couldn't find anyone that was willing or able.
I think the
We
first
don't
Yeah,
person
know
it's-
any girls.
Who would have
It's the
guessed
first-
Bionicle
is a,
fans are having trouble finding girls?
Right?
The first
Yeah.
person we reached out to, as far as female representation goes, was from the BCC, if I'm not mistaken.
I think she was on the short list originally whenever we drew that up.
I know we checked FWEF.
Yeah, we did check FWEF, and I think she was interested at one point, but it's more of a
It was a scheduling conflict, I believe, with her originally.
yeah. She's in
Um,
college and in Britain, and on top of all my scheduling bullshit, I mean, it's just
Yeah.
I mean,
and
you're
then
in Bahrain, Lahari.
we also
Yeah.
checked with
yeah. I
Lady
know you
K,
don't
and
care
she
about it, but we're
wasn't.
just kind of explaining it.
she wasn't interested either. But so yeah, we did try. But once again, for all those purists out there, if we had gotten a female, we wouldn't have forced them to be the Toa of Water. They would have gotten to be whatever they wanted to be. So yeah, as it turns out, it was first come, first serve. I decided to go last. I ended up being the Toa of Water, and I had no interest playing a female. So that's why Kodawi's a guy. Sorry, not sorry.
Agree with that? Yoda Karzani.
As
He
far
does
as
have a chip on his
Kodawi,
shoulder because of it, though.
yeah, as far as Kodawi as a character goes, him being a guy is actually like a main character point for him because male Gamatoran are still uncommon. Like, we didn't want to completely get rid of that canon thing. So they're incredibly uncommon, and he is ridiculed for it. That's why he hates Metro Nui, is because he got so much crap. That's why he left. It's not said in the character video because he wouldn't tell you that. But that's Kodawi for you. He's very salty, and
Saltwater.
yeah, no, he's the toe of saltwater. That is correct. Yeah.
And
Life reflects art, or as they say, or something like that.
Some bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Imaruki Toa of Fire in the YouTube chat says, "Kodawi, your voice is so rich. Damn."
Yeah. Oh, well, people started complaining about the audio quality, not knowing that I had a new mic in the mail.
Yeah.
Well, then why didn't you use it?
Because it was in
Because
the
it was in
mail,
the
gosh
mail.
dang it.
Yeah, time is the enemy right now, very much so.
Yeah.
So
By the way, I think is everyone else having? I think I'm having trouble with the Twitch stream.
Yeah, Twitch streams.
I'm looking at the Twitch stream and I'm not having any issues.
was
I
having
think it's
trouble
just a
with the
latency.
YouTube stream
Yeah,
now.
yeah, it might have been. Might have been.
Anyways, that's enough on Kodawi. Petrus, go
Yep.
ahead and talk to us about Futaki.
Okay.
Taki the
So-
second.
Futaki is probably the closest, I think, to a canonically based character, I guess, is what you'd say. He's a Tamatoran who grew up in Tametru, started his occupation as a disc maker. And, the dream of most Tamatoran is to eventually become a mask maker, and one of the better ones at that. So people like Bakama are kind of idolized in that district. And the problem for Futaki was that he wasn't that good at it. He would break the majority of the masks that he would make. So he never actually got brought up to the status of a mask maker. But over time, he befriended this Toa from said playtest. His name was Futaki as well. He inherits the name later. His original name is Talvi. So, but he teaches him how to make discs in a way that nobody else knows how to make them, so that they're generally more durable, more powerful variants of Tametru discs. And so over time, he becomes a very famous engineer through that. He starts to expand a little past traditional Kanoka making and opens up his own shop. Eventually, he'll become a Toa, and he'll join the rest of the Toa Couture.
Yeah, and just a quick aside, Loganto in the YouTube chat says, "I feel so giddy just thinking about making my own character with this system." We're very glad that you are excited. We are very excited as well.
Yeah,
So
Can't
chances
everyone
you
is
guys
excited.
are.
Release the character sheet already. Can I please?
Not until we triple check everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you are very well aware of how many iterations that thing's.
Ooh, okay, this
Oh,
is
wait,
a good
can
question.
I just say?
Well-
Can I? Wait,
Go
Diggy,
on.
before you go.
Yeah.
I did not realize the PDF editor I was using had an add page button that I could have just made all my work disappear in like 2 seconds. I had to go back into Photoshop and re-export that stupid document names. It was not fun because then all the calculations broke. Instead, all I had
Yeah.
to do was make a new page, move everything, delete the old page.
Yeah, so Ultisaurus in the Twitch chat asks, "How did you guys come up with the name Couture?" And I think Lehari's going to take this one.
Oh yes. One of the weirdest accolades that I've sort of built up over the course of this project is I think I am somewhere in the top 5 for most fluent in Matoran, which if you told me I was going to do that like 2 years ago, I'd be all like, "You're fucking crazy." But
So jelly.
it's nice. It's weird and a little bit of a curse, honestly. But Anyways, Kartur translates more or less directly, literally, as to counter fear. And more literally, counterterrorism. So they're the Toa of counterterrorism.
Yes.
So, or to, yeah, that is more or less the etymological root of that. And the way that I came to that was using my own understanding of linguistic construction and using the lexical corpus that was put together by a gentleman that is known as Tolkien on BZP, I think, and out of Gloom on Tumblr. Real awesome linguist dude put together a second edition along with some notes on Skakti and Vortex etymology, which I'm really excited to get into. If anybody out there that we don't already have knows him, please tell him I want to talk to him.
Yeah. Also, let's see. The name of our Toa team in the playtest was the Lisoka, which I believe translated to Wanderer. It was like an 18-man Toa team. And you might hear about a few of them during the Shadow of the Colosseum. I know Bomapar became the Trog of Metronui. So
one of them.
He is the Trog of Metronui. He was my character during the playtest. So that's gonna be fun. Having no control over him.
Petrus, you're literally mentored by your old character, aren't you?
Yeah, no. Bataki the First becomes Talavi's mentor, and then when Potaki the First leaves to go fight the League of Six Kingdoms, naming day occurs, and he's one of the Matoran that gets renamed, and so he chooses Potaki the Second.
Yeah, if I recall, the way that happened is you just liked Potaki so much you wanted to bring him to the show, so we just added the second and wrote it into your backstory, which I think is cool. I like that. That's great.
It's nice. Something that we've never really seen from a Toa before is sort of a lineage. And okay, fine, Swert, I'll say it. The name of the Great Spirit during the playtest was Mata Swerti because we were lucky enough to have Swert on the periphery.
Mm-hmm.
But,
everyone has meme cancer. It's just a thing.
Yeah.
However, Mata Swerti is not in the Shadow of the Colosseum. I want to stress that right now.
No, that is not a thing. It is not a thing.
Mata Swerti is not canon.
Can Mofki change his denomination to Swertian?
We'll get a little bit more into the ethno-religious elements of this at a later point. Not right now.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But
okay. So this is a question that's been a bit backlogged. It was answered by someone in the chat, but I do think it's something we should bring up here. It is from Sokoda7. Do you plan on releasing the Red Box in different languages? I could help with translating to German if you want. And then Bionic...
Lahara, you're a linguist.
We will be releasing.
I am really good at English, and I am the best, but not great at Matoran that we have. So I do speak a little bit of German. I speak a little bit of Spanish, a little bit of Italian, a little bit of Latin for some reason. I have a lot of random-ass languages, but I do not have the precision in any of them to actually attempt a translation. So I'll tell you what, if there is, Peels just said release it in Matoran, which I might, but
first.
Yes.
But if there is enough of an interest in the non-English Bionicle communities out there, I would consider attempting to put together a team to do that. But honestly, it would certainly not be all-inclusive, and I don't know how precise I can actually get with some other languages.
I suppose the best way of putting it is we do not currently have plans to do that because we are completely unqualified to do that.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty much.
Worth mentioning, someone in the chat asked about Vaki. Are Vaki going to feature? No, they aren't because they haven't been invented yet. Vaki were commissioned by Doom. Doom is not even a Toa yet in our storyline. So no, the Vaki are not.
It was going to be a
seen.
thing, but we realized it couldn't be a thing.
Yeah, it was going to be a thing. Then we realized it conflicted canon, and we couldn't have it be a thing.
Yeah,
oddly enough, one of our 3D modelers actually caught that for us. So
we have a lot of lore checkers with us.
We do. We have so many.
Thanks, Brian.
Yeah, shout out to Brian. He's a great guy. But also Loganto also asks, how simple or difficult is this system compared to actual D&D?
Think
Well,
Pathfinder.
yeah, so a little bit of background on myself and Mata, and to a lesser extent, Scorpion Strike, who was helped laid the foundation of all of this pretty significantly in the early months of our development. I have a background in a couple of different tabletop games, but my primary is Pathfinder. At this point, I have around about a decade almost of experience DMing and playing Pathfinder, which is a direct successor to Dungeons and Dragons 3.5, which is known as rules. There's rules for literally everything. Whereas Mata, my other half in this particular case, and thus begins the shipping wars, has a.
Why did you do this to us?
Because it was happening anyways, so we may as well ride it fun. But
I had never heard about it until now, so you guys just sealed your fate.
Yep. So the and Mata
Funny.
has a background in Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition more than anything else. So splitting the difference between those two, since 5th edition is a pretty young system and Pathfinder is an old system directly inheriting an even older and more complicated system, we sort of split the difference on top of peppering in a couple of different other systems that I myself am aware of, and we also did get a consultant for some of the more role-play elements of things from a fourth gentleman by the name of Katuko.
As far as difficulty to learn and play, I would say it's probably slightly more difficult than 5e because it's got some of the more crunchy mechanical Pathfinder-y bits, but also I would highly encourage you to play with the house rule of any time I make a mistake, that is a house rule.
It keeps him on his toes.
Yeah, it's a great you're playing a modified version. By modified, you mean every time you make a mistake, it's a house rule. It's a very easy way of doing it.
Yep.
But honestly, I think that the rules mostly should dovetail into each other pretty nicely. I think they're fairly intuitive, and
If they're not, just send all your hate mail to Mata and Lahari as usual.
Yeah.
Mata specifically, because he works better with that.
Hire girl.
go to Karzani.
Let's convert everything over to Pathfinder 2nd edition. Now that's a thing.
Oh god,
No.
they announced that while we were doing this, and oh my god.
Yeah. There will be. We have talked about doing some tutorial videos on certain parts of the system that might be a bit more difficult, specifically the elemental system. I will definitely be doing a tutorial of that sometime. So
the character sheet does most of the math for you, so it shouldn't be that hard.
Yeah, the character sheet does most of the math. It's more of just like how to interpret the character sheet would be most of the tutorial videos. I don't know. Maybe we'll do a thing where we stream building a character if that's something someone's interested in. I think that could be fun. Who knows?
Have the BCC guys do it.
Might.
Or you know who. You know, the greeny guy.
It's true. We still got 3 characters that need to be finished mechanically. Keeney just said that that's a great rule. Keeney, I can't take credit for it. I stole it from Loading Ready Run. Cameron on it. He said it on their D&D show. But yeah, it's a good rule to run with.
Yeah.
Right. Another quick thing, just back to characters really quickly. Just wanted to state that we do have players for our other 3 characters selected. They're just not here right now to talk about them. But we will have character videos, and we will be working with them just the same. So.
Hopefully.
No, hey.
Listen, one of them's off live streaming right now.
Oh yeah, no, we'll let you guess who that is.
Also, a couple of people are asking about other like stats for other beings. I guess like someone asks about are stats for Vaki going to be released in case they want to do that with the red box.
I think they're in the red box, aren't they?
No, the Vaki stats won't be in the red box simply because we're trying to release content that we know is going to be needed to support that time period. Although, I will say that we have, previously we had the Vaki statted because we thought that we were going to be using them, and at some point in the future we will be releasing that.
I mean,
and then,
Teal
Real talk.
Khan asks, are there future plans for the rules for Skakti, Matoran, or even Makuta PCs?
I
Scotty
can
Matoran, yes. Makuta
Maybe.
Makuta is
probably not
debatable.
at this point.
Makuta is debatable, although I will say that before I was brought on and I was still working on my weird 2nd edition thing, I had been coming up with a way that you could play as a Makuta and it wouldn't be ridiculously overpowered and taint the experience. So
At this point, I am not going to promise Makuta as a PC race. I can promise Skakti and Matoran because that's already in our pipeline.
Mhm.
Makuta, I'll give you a solid maybe if we can figure out how to not make it completely broken.
Keep an eye out for Variki's Guide to Monsters. That'll be a great source.
Go
book.
Oh my god. No.
That was a joke in case anybody, didn't catch it.
I will
Yeah.
murder you.
Okay.
And last of these questions, someone asked, are there going to be Bow-Rock?
Bow-Rock
I mean,
are
eventually.
going to be a thing at some point.
Not in the red box, though.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
Red Box is very much a bare bones stuff. That is, I want to make
Mhm.
I want to make that perfectly and completely clear to everybody here is that the Red Box is a starter kit. It does not have an awful, it doesn't have an awful lot of timepiece
Depth.
related.
Yeah, I think we do have what was it, 60 Rahi that we're putting in there though, or 60
Thereabouts, I think.
monsters, mostly
There-
Rahi.
There are 60 Rahi. The Rahi manual will be, of course, only Rahi. I can list a couple of them right now. I'm still, we have our list of creatures that you'll be able to toy with selected, and we have the stats for all of them written out. It's just a problem of translating that into a format that can be read easily by players and DMs alike. So,
I
expect-
didn't even know there was 60 Rahi in canon.
There's over 100, as it turns out.
They released a
Um,
whole book.
Okay.
Yeah,
Couple.
and also I should say, as one of the primary bestiary developers, that we will at some point, not immediately, but at some point, we will be working on expanded canon Rahi, such as the ones that we never saw or got
Mhm.
sets for, and
Mhm.
we will introduce a small amount of non-canon Rahi as well over time. But just to list a few that we've got ready for you for the red box, the Kane Ra, the Dermis Turtle, Nui Jaga, Copen, and Rama, the Proto Drake, the Takia Shark, the Ussel, the Krawa, that's a fun one, and Archives Moles.
I love me this Rawa.
Yeah, there's a lot of variation in there. I tried to make sure that there was a good balance for all the 6 districts of the city.
So we have another question here from the Twitch chat, from Barden. Do you see any legal problems to release other physical stuff like spell cards, DM screen, or dice sets? As a Lego / Bionicle collector, I strongly prefer to play with physical items over digital.
And you know what? That is understandable.
Yeah.
So as
We-
far as, sorry, I can handle at least some of this. So
Okay.
as far as spell cards go, we can certainly release those in a digital format for you to print out yourself, a little bit like Cards Against Humanity did back in the day. DM screen, we could probably come up with again a digital format that you could put on, you could tape to an actual one, and then dice sets. We actually. Well,
We
you
were
know what?
just
Actually,
discussing
Jack was about to go into depth on that. So why don't you handle that one for me, Kevin?
I think it was Petrus that was actually going to go back in depth with that, but okay.
Yeah, I can tackle this one a little bit. Yeah, I am going to steal your thunder, Jack. I am. Okay.
So my internet just took a big dump on me. What did I miss?
I just went into the question that Barden asked a little bit.
Okay.
Okay. So, as for the dice, we want to at some point be able to release dice to you. Shapeways has a lot of different options for creators to make dice. You can release them all in essentially one
Pack.
pack. It'll let you choose how many you want, how many sides on each of the ones you're ordering, all that great stuff. You can look into it with the Thorn dice. I highly recommend you check that out simply because even though they're not even related to us at all, they're great dice, and you can get them through Shapeways. Our problem, though, is that making dice that are Bionicle themed could prove to be very, very difficult. And I speak from experience. I've tried to model dice before. there are a lot of problems that come with them. Namely, when you're doing the imprinting on each of the faces to, say what the number is that you've rolled, you need to be careful with how deep you dig into the model, because if you pull too much material out of the dice, you will actually affect the roll. So when I 3D printed my first set of dice, I got a lot of like 3s on my D6 because it pulled so much material out that the other side, which would have been a 4, was heavier. And so it would constantly land with the 3 side up. So there's problems like that. So somebody in our internal group suggested maybe we could do a Nuva cube. But then when you do stuff like that, it becomes really subjective because you have to state in the description of the item which side represents which number. And then some people are going to think that we're labeling that by like what we think is most powerful, right? If we give a 6 to like fire, does that mean that we consider fire to be the most powerful element, that type of thing? So that's out.
That was me, by the way. I suggested that.
Yeah. Some problems could come up if we tried to do like an imprint of a mask on each side, because again, you're potentially rating those. So we're considering maybe opening that up to design from the community. We would say, here's our criteria. If your designs meet these criteria, you could submit them in the form of a drawing or like just a really rough sketch or anything like that. And then we would model that, the winning person's dice, and release those to our shop. And the creator would then receive almost all of the money generated from that dice set. So we're considering something like that. We don't have anything set in stone. That also includes a time frame. We don't know when we would do that, but it's definitely something that we want to consider, because it's one of the few things we could release physically and not get legally challenged for.
Lahari, I'm about to blindside you with something.
Oh, yay! What is it?
So, remember how we said we weren't putting Vaki in the red box?
Yeah, why don't we do that?
I think we should.
The Metro.
Because the pre-gens are going to be the Toa Metro, so they should be able to fight Vaki.
Yeah.
Well, we have them written up, don't we?
Yeah, we do. I mean, we need to double check them, but there's no reason why we couldn't put them in there. So I think we should put them in.
Yeah, sure. Why the hell not?
Yeah. And then also, Noah asks, could one feasibly play as existing characters for Bonkel's lore?
Yes, we are planning on releasing more or less official stats
Pre-gens.
for everybody. Yeah.
I answered that in chat. The red box includes the Toa Metro, for example. So yeah, that is totally a thing. And now you'll be able to fight Vaki, so you'll basically be able to do the whole Metro News story, in theory.
Maybe you'll do it better than Miramax did. Probably.
Maybe. You'll also make up your own stats for Makuta. We aren't including those. Just put an infinity symbol in every stat and call it good.
Here.
Uh,
Tealy Khan says, I really want a D20 with Matoran numerals. I would use it in all the games I play.
Me and you both, brother.
Yep.
If you're looking for a kind of bionicle feeling coolness die, there's a set of dice on Shapeways called Nuclei dice. I'll go grab a link. You can get them in metal, which is what I got, and they're very nice, and I'm a big fan of them. Not a sponsor. I'm just a fan. Someone go back on topic.
Oh yeah. Also, Kordian Rogalski asks, or he suggested, consider using some stories for quote-unquote elite Vaki from mask posting. I'm not entirely sure what you mean by that. Could you please elaborate?
I think it was some mocks posted on mask posting that were more or less looked like upgraded versions of Vaki. With I think instead of a pair of staffs, they actually had 2, which I thought I think I know the mock you're talking about, and it did look pretty cool.
Yeah, people on mask posting make some pretty good mocks. Shout outs to y'all.
Yeah.
Can you make me a mod on so I can post this link? Can you make me a mod on YouTube, please? So I can post my link.
I need your YouTube channel link.
I posted it in Team Artaka chat.
Okay,
a while ago,
there it is.
before the stream started. Okay, thank you. Sorry for the interruption.
Asian K says there were such things as Elite Vaki in canon, and then Cordian clarifies Vaki posting mocks and stories for them. Okay, I think Vaki posting, it's kind of a meme for mask posting where, like, when people did something quote-unquote heretical, like cutting pieces, 3D printed, painting them, and they would just spam with pictures of, like, police officers, but with their heads switched out for Vaki heads.
Looking at you, Alan.
I
Well,
approve
yeah.
this message.
Everyone loves you, Alan.
Yep.
But we're worried about you. You need to slow down.
Yeah. Then Asian K is continuing to clarify that the Elite Vaki are called the Kranua and the Krahu, which are both in canon, which, if I'm not mistaken, those are like the Vaki and Toa Metru combiners, aren't they?
Probably.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Which were like, I think they were like prototypes made by Nuparu.
Yeah, they were.
Mhm.
Yep. So we should go on with forum questions.
Yeah, okay, let's get
well,
back
we
on
only-
those.
We only have a few more.
Oh,
Mhm.
dude, there's 2 guys posted like batches. We have plenty more.
Oh, what? Oh.
Like,
Oh.
let's see. How many people are working on this project? That's a good one.
You a lot.
Around about 25-ish
So
actively.
we have
and then-
60 people on our development server.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now, some of those are players from the playtest. Some of those are most of TTV as VIPs. We keep them around because we like TTV.
Keep your friends.
Shout out
close
to
your-
Keeney, I hate you.
Shout out to Keeney. Keeney is the one who did the editing on the Kodalia video.
Yeah.
We've had him locked in the basement. He's doing a great job.
My bad.
Yeah,
We
much
love you,
love
Timmy.
to Kenny, yeah.
Yeah.
Work slave.
But yeah, we have about a total of, I think, 20 people, 25 people currently working on things. Others have either been part of the playtest or are VIPs, community icons,
Mhm.
or were brought on to work on something and finished it, or in between jobs, had to step back for personal reasons, yada
Mhm.
yada. But so, if you're looking for how many people are currently working 2025.
Yeah. Which I
Um,
think that's a sizable number. And,
yeah, it's
you know,
still a lot.
it could always
uh,
potentially increase. It just depends.
Let's see. There was another person who asked.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Noah asks, hold up, where did the question go? What locations will be playable for the game, and are the teams an explainable subject?
Okay, so I think he might be talking about Toa teams. I'm not sure.
No,
on
he's
that.
talking about the teams in the Discord because he's in our Discord. That's
Oh,
that's
oh,
Jiddle.
right. That's
Yep.
oh, it's Jiddle. Hello, Jiddle.
Yeah, hi,
so
Noah.
we're planning on expanding to include most of the Matoran universe, and potentially, if we ever get that far, beyond to Bauer, Magnus, Fierce Magnet, etc.
Alternate universes.
Yeah, Metru and Matanui are our priorities right now. I think mostly Metru Nui, obviously.
Mhm.
We want
As
to
is
include,
the theme.
Yeah.
Uh,
we want to include islands like Zakaz or Odina, potentially Artaka, if we ever,
Mhm.
it really depends. We have a lot of spaces that we could fill, and there's a whole lot of the timeline that is just kind of empty that we could work with.
Mhm.
We'll mostly be releasing information about locations based off of where our settings are for seasons. So,
Mhm.
As is the theme. Only Metro Nui is in the red box. More stuff will come later. We promise.
Yeah, we
plan
are
to go
planning overall
everywhere.
sort of flesh out everywhere in the Matoran universe that just does not have a lot already said about it. Like, I don't think that we know anything about the Northern Continent besides which
Mhm.
Makuta were assigned there, and even then we don't have a full roster. We know that
How
the Trent
terrible the
Crown
Trent
exists.
Peninsula is.
Yeah, we know that
Yep.
that exists, and we know that it's smaller than the Southern Continent, and we, for some reason, know more about the Southern Continent than the Northern one.
Well, that's because
But
Koya
we're-
Nui is part of the southern continent.
Yeah, that's pretty much the only reason why, actually.
and Carter
From-
Nui was underneath it. So,
Mhm.
From Martin Collins, what kind of items more than masks will be released in the Forge?
okay,
Hmm.
I can talk about this.
Cool.
So we have actually already been designing some different pieces for various things. We're mostly working with weapons. So I modeled an axe head that was kind of based off of Anuiki's axe. If you've seen any concept art for LQ's character, we are trying to take a look at that kind of stuff. Somebody asked for I think it was Mata. You asked for a bola a long time ago in RC. One of our one of our main modelers, his name's RC. He did a model for us with that. The thing is that comes in several pieces, so we're trying to figure out the most efficient and cost-effective way to release that to the shop before we go through with that. We have plans for various other things. You know, there's an infinite number of blades that we could design. You know, you see
Machweedle.
Yep.
Yeah, the Machweedle that he has, Kodawi has, is potentially available.
RC also made Mob Keys Tonfas that have the multi-function ice pieces on them.
I totally
which I think
forgot
those are
about
actually ready for. Those are ready for release, by the way. I've tested all of those.
Okay, great. I'll have him send. That's work in progress right there. I'll have him send the files over to me. We'll release it to the shop, and then if people start buying them, then fantastic. We are looking into maybe also releasing body parts or armor pieces. RC is once again very good at that type of stuff. He lives in a location where Lego sets are very hard to come by, and so he's actually fully 3D printed most of his characters. So.
Imruki Toa of Fire asks, what exactly is this project? I'm a bit lost.
Oh boy.
Lahari, you want to take this?
Yeah. Okay. All right. So for those of for everybody here who is unfamiliar, which I honestly was not expecting, all things considered, at least for all of the avenues that we've hit up trying to proselytize about ourselves. But we are Red Star Games, which is a group of individuals who have spent the better part of the last year, well, more like 9 months right now, but we've been building a tabletop role-playing game centered around Bionicle. And in our manic effort to attempt to make it known that it exists and that it is up to snuff to play in G1, we, myself, Mata, and the other founding father, Scorpion Strike, started reaching out to a whole bunch of other awesome people in the community. Umatu specifically, because he was our first kind of big get, I think. Then Jack and Petrus, and eventually Diggy and Lectonic. And then all of the other wonderful, wonderful people that we have brought in to help us work out what it is we exactly want to do, which is first and foremost this RPG. Secondly, doing a show about it, which we want to share a story about a part of Bionicle that has not really been explored an awful lot. I mean, a lot of them, anyways, but chiefly the post-Civil War era for right now. And we also want to fill in the gaps that LEGO left us as far as both lore primarily and very, very wonderfully the set side of things. So not having masks, not having tools, not having, builds for, your run-of-the-mill Vortex or a whole bunch of other stuff, honestly. Basically, the goal is to kind of be a 1.5 or a Bionicle Plus sort of deal.
Thanks, Greg.
Shut the fuck up, Jack.
Hey.
As Greg said, there's the swear, by the way. We knew you'd do it.
No, he said it earlier.
Yeah, no, I've said ass, I've said shit. It's fine.
We need to get you that swear jar. I mean, as Greg said, though, Bionicle, it's such a rich universe. He could have written 1,000 books in that universe. Like, we're here to
do his work for him,
to you so you can write those 1,000 books. Make your story. That's our goal.
Give me the feels, man.
Do we have another question? Oh, someone asked about Glatorian. So, eventually, we probably will release Glatorian stats. Jack was saying if you really want to play a Glatorian, you can just remove the elemental powers and you basically have one. They'll probably get something that like balances them a bit better later, but that's when we officially release them. Currently, we do not have Glatorian. Once again, they will not be in the red box. They will come out later, yada yada. Same thing we've been saying this whole time.
I'd like to point out that there's nothing that we can do to stop somebody from homebrewing something if they feel that we're taking too long to release information on how you would create a Glatorian.
Yeah.
They can try to spin their own take on it.
I would
Definitely
say,
homebrew.
Yeah, we're encouraging people to.
We
homebrew
yeah
things.
no seriously
we would
like
love
yeah.
for you to homebrew, and we would love for you to show us your homebrew, because if we like it, we might make it part of our system. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
jump on the
possible.
forums.
Weirder things
Show
would
them,
happen.
yeah.
Also, as we said earlier, the red box, as well as being the basic rule set, it's also a playtest, and we want feedback. If you don't like something, please tell us about it, so we can try and fix it, or see if it's fixable at least. Because currently, it's only been played once. There have been changes made based on that playtest, but this is kind of the public playtest, and we're very much hoping to get a lot of feedback to make it as good as possible.
Constructive criticism, of course. None of the it fucking sucks type stuff. We'll listen to it either way, but you know.
We'll listen to it. We'll just ignore it if it's not useful information.
So I did miss a little bit of that. I had to step away for a moment. What was exactly the question?
Oh, someone asked about Glatorian that sidelined into homebrew, and then from there went into
Glatorian are eventually very eventually.
Yeah, that sidelined into homebrew, and then we were talking about the fact that the red box is technically also a playtest, and impressing upon people that they should give us feedback so that we know what they do and don't like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're here. We're here for you guys. We wanna make you guys happy.
We're supposed to be a community, damn it. We're supposed to help each other.
Swear jar.
So, all things considered, if we will absolutely give our thoughts in the defense of all of our decisions, if the community at large sees them as questionable. One of the things, though, that as far as a formal response and redress system goes, in the forum, there will be a how you would do it section. Because it's all well and good to tell us something is broken, and we can come up with ideas all goddamn day on our own, but if you have something to tell us that might fix what's going on, please do.
Yeah, please don't tell us to correct something and then not offer the correction. Or at least how we could best fix it.
And if you don't have anything, that is fine. Just say, hey, I'm not sure how to fix that. We brought it to your attention. You know, that is a perfectly fine way to do it. Just, you know, for the future, if you have ideas, shoot them over our way. We won't call you an idiot to your face.
Unless you repeal a car.
Unless you peel a card.
No,
actually, even that hashtag Swiss Army Rock Sheet. Even if it was peel a card, we wouldn't tell it to his face. We just change his.
But we have the ability to do that. Oh my! I see that Matt is starting on the Kanohi Road variants.
It does appear so, and I already like where he's going with this.
Same. So Matt really does kind of have more or less a blank check to draw up the rest of Bionicle at this point.
That's not true. He has to share with a couple of people.
Bahari, you should really keep your wallet on lockdown. Well,
One thing that I would like to point out about the game and how we're going to be taking feedback is that we want the game to be fun, and if it's not, that kind of defeats the purpose of developing it. So really, if there are problems that need resolution, please let us know.
Yeah. Also, while we talk about feedback, we will take an infinite amount of feedback on the mechanics. The show, we'll also take feedback on the show. I'd like to say probably the kind of feedback we won't take is feedback on how the players are playing, because, well, that's up to them. That's there's
I
no
am-
your fun
I
is
am-
wronging here.
I'm
Mata,
a
can you-
Pillow of Fire with a Qualsy, and I'm a gunslinger. If you tell me that I'm playing my character wrong, I'm going to teleport into your house and hit you in the head with a Kanoka disc.
Mata, can you please make your character a toe of plant life and correct the water issue?
Go to Karzani.
Oh,
Oh, he
I'm
said
already-
his catchphrase. Doopity doopity doo.
I've said it like
Little
3
do you
times
know.
already.
Little do you know, I'm already there.
Welcome.
All right, what question we have up next?
See.
Uh,
Someone asked about a Rahi taming system.
That is a good question.
They're
Uh,
so in the pipeline, but not. It's gonna be one. It's gonna be an expansion. It's not gonna be
I've-
red box.
Currently, I think the way that we're dealing with it is that Rahi handling is a skill similar to
There's
traits
a
that
Rahi
you.
handling skill. So yeah.
Yeah, there's a skill that you can get. So you would essentially have a Rahi that you want to tame. The ability to tame that would have a DC, if I'm saying that correctly, and then you would roll for it. And if you don't roll high enough, then something bad might happen to you, depending on what you're trying to tame.
So Ash Bear mauls your face is more or less what's going on. But
And then Archives moles swarm you and tickle you to death.
yes,
Imruki Toe of Fire. So, do you guys have the unnamed Kanohi named? Yes, we do.
oh, you
Hard.
better believe it.
Mm-hmm.
You had
What's up?
better believe it.
You want to talk about that, Lahari?
How many? I'll list them off if.
Don't list them all, please.
Lahari, start showing off that list. Yeah, Lahari's kind of a
we
villain
don't
when
have
it comes to
time to list
naming
them all.
things. Yes, we do.
Have like 100.
We have 100 masks, and most people know the names to all the canon ones. But we can talk about maybe some of the elemental masks, some of the Sonotic ones.
Actually, here we can name off the
I-
ones that are in the playtest at the very least.
Oh yeah, not all of them have. I'll tell you what. Haga masks. Haga masks don't all have names. Let me see here. Do we still have them in the stat block in the way that we? Okay, yeah. 1 minute.
The-
He's
really-
looking that up.
The
I can
popular
tell
one
you
that
that-
everybody knows is going to be the Volumi that Mavkit wears. That is one of the Haga masks.
Yeah, the Kanohi Volumi, the Mask of Clairvoyance. That is the mask that Toahaga Gaki is known for wearing and known for having migraines on because, yeah, reasons.
Hello.
Here. Then we also have the Kanohi Matuku, which is the Mask of Immolation. I think that's is that Pokes?
I believe that's
No.
Pokes, yeah.
Oh yeah, okay, it's Pokes.
Yeah, and then the
believe we have all
Y
the
is growth, and that's Bamunga.
Yep, and then we have the Koramau, which is Rahi Control, which I think at that point has to be coolest, right?
Yeah, it's coolest. And then the masks that Kodawi has, yes, he has two. They're actually both noble masks, which should I launch into why they're noble masks actually right now?
We should
Yes.
talk about
yeah.
that as a mechanical thing, yeah.
Yeah, actually, so Kodawi has two noble masks, and the reasoning for that is during character creation there is an option where, as a Toa, you can either have a great mask or two nobles, and I took the two nobles option because I am a Suva warrior as my primary archetype currently. That is my level 1 archetype. And so I have two noble masks. I have the noble Unweku, which is the mask of intangibility, and my primary mask, my primary Kanohi, is the Kanohi Vamaku, which is a noble mask of psychometry.
Mm-hmm.
Let's
Yep.
see. What are other mask names I can throw off the top of my head? Kaketo is the mask of elemental energy.
Akikoki is the great mask of ice.
There you go.
Gakawi is the elemental mask of water.
Yeah. Kapoi is elemental stone.
But we
Sweet
should
Like
probably
Rogue-
mention that as well. We are designing elemental masks because we think that the G2 elemental masks are stupid.
Well, I mean,
They're-
those are
they're
G2,
okay.
A, and B, they are confirmed to exist in G1.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, the Garai proves that elemental mask exists because it's a mask of gravity, which is an element. So
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, and on top, it is also Word of Greg, which, by the way, a lot of stuff, a lot of things, a lot of conjecture that we've had to make. We did double check the Ask Greg posts from the old message boards and from TTV.
Thank
and
you, Wolf.
Thank big ups to Woke on that. He's our lore checker and one of my whips. Real
There are
stand-up guy.
very few places where we willfully ignore Greg, and it's usually because it would break the game otherwise.
Mhm.
Team
'Cause
Macaw
Gra-
asked, how much customization is there?
A lot.
So much customization.
You
Probably
can choose
too
your
much.
mask, you can choose your element, you can choose your archetype, you can multi-class at level 2 into
Tools,
whatever
armor.
other archetypes you want. You got your Toa tool, you got your armor, you got
You can build your player
background.
character. What?
You got it's got
Yeah, no,
I'd
I mean,
say
if
more customization than D&D 5e.
somebody asked me a while back if we had any kind of idea of what we think a Toa should look like we treat it like canon essentially. If you can build something with Lego and then say, I've built a Toa, we're going to look at that and say, okay, that's a Toa.
Mhm.
There's
Yeah,
no
more,
restriction.
more or less.
Well,
more or
more or less, but there's very little restriction to what you can do to create your character in terms of appearance
far
and in
as our-
terms of play style.
As
Mhm.
far as our visual representations go, in most of the artwork, I tried to do somewhat of a Metro build. That's just my personal decision to kind of keep with the established canon.
Well,
yeah, as they
yeah.
said, like in your mocks and such, we'll accept pretty much anything.
Well, that's the other thing as well, is that at least for Fopi and Fotaki, it makes the most sense for them to have Metro builds because not only do they both live in Metro Nui, they're native to their respective districts, but I built Fotaki using a modified Metro build anyways, so.
And
Mhm.
Kodawi is actually from Metro Nui initially, and I believe Mavki's only, correct me if I'm wrong, Jack, Mavki's only interaction with Toa was Jovan's team, which was also from Metro Nui, wasn't it?
Yep. He didn't. He never talked to them. He just kind of saw them do the thing and ran. Oh, actually, no. He talked to one of them, not Jovan.
Yeah, but he never actually saw Toa before that. It was his only interaction ever with Toa, talking. Yeah, so that's the thing there.
So I would like to just ducktail off of that as far as an important detail here is, for context, is that the Matoran Civil War did take place roughly 80,000 years prior to the events of 2001 and 2001 through 3 and then 08 to 10. So and a lot has happened in the Matoran universe in the 20,000 years between it launching and then, but it is still a much younger, much different type of world compared to what you would probably be used to adventuring in the Duma years or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Also, by the way, I'm back. I briefly left because I live in a third world country and the power went out. So yeah.
Ah.
Yeah.
Say goodbye to Diggy, everybody. Thank him for the lime joint and all that
Thank you,
lies
Hector.
between.
Donate to my Patreon. I don't have one, but donate to it.
Throw
But-
money at him.
Buy
That's
masks,
please.
and we'll give him the monies.
So
Didn't-
a little. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
No, just go ahead. I was gonna make a joke.
Oh, so I'm looking over in the YouTube chat and let's see here, Joseph Shipasaporium, what was your question that got pushed up?
Yeah. I tried to look for it and I didn't find it.
Yeah, me either. I would like to confirm, Corridan, that the Mask of Light and the Mask of Shadows are elemental masks technically, although they are.
I think we have them listed as
incredibly
pseudo elemental, or not pseudo elemental, pseudo legendary.
Yeah, so there are several masks that are classified differently compared to the rest of the masks by what logic might otherwise dictate because of either their rarity or their sheer power. So, and I can actually list off all 5 of them because it is a small list.
I imagine the Olmec.
Yeah, so the Evoki, the Krakan, the Elisi, which I'm pretty sure does only have one extant copy that was made by the Great Beings, the Kanoi Olmec, which only has 2, and it's a very important detail, and the Kanoi Mauturu, which is the Mask of Mutation, which, as far as I understand it, does only have one wearer in the form of the original leader of the Brotherhood.
But of course, you can ignore that in your game because you're the DM.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, you could have everybody rolling around with all of those, multiples of all of those if you really wanted to, but we're just stating for our sake and for annotation's sake that they are considered a cut above.
Mm-hmm. Also, Joseph's question was, how normie-friendly will the book be? I want to play this with real-life friends who don't know much about Bionicle.
So
We're probably going to include something. If you, we're probably going to include something directing people to BSO1. That's probably the best place to go to look. If you
as
have
far
questions
as
regarding lore and stuff.
yeah, although I do believe actually in our thing we have a preface that talks about just like the feel of the world and what it means to be a Toa, because once again, Redbox only has Toa in it, so it should be playable by people who know nothing about Bionicle. They have to be willing to accept the premise, obviously. They have to be willing to accept what a Toa is and what that means and what the rules of this world are. But if you want to hook people on playing a Bionicle RPG, I'd start by pitching it that it's a RPG where everyone's a wizard and you start with a magic item.
Yep.
That's basically it. Yeah. I on the Rahi manual, I know that I'm including a bit of a preface that explains what Rahi even are. So we'll just make sure that with foreign concepts to people who are not very familiar with lore, we will have a valid explanation to help them out. And then of course we'll try to direct them towards BSO1. Should we include a link somewhere? I don't know.
In the forward we will have just because that is going to be the place that most people are probably playing this from. I will say we can work on sort of a glossary type thing to sort of translate a lot of the in-universe terms into phrases that might be more familiar to even non-D&D players, but D&D players would more or less be what it would be aimed at, I think.
There will be a glossary, that is true. Abstainer14 asked, how is weapon diversity? Is it just mostly a change in damage? Is it abstracted?
We do change in damage. I believe there's range values associated with most weapons, and then also the kind of traditional slash, puncture, and blunt damages.
The simplest way to put it is you have it's pretty much the Pathfinder model or the 3.5e model. You got your bludgeoning, slashing, piercing. You got non-lethal and lethal damage. You've got various different damage dice being rolled, various different crit ranges, different crit multipliers, different effects that might be done on crit. It's very, very diverse depending on your weapon. And it's mostly based on Pathfinder. That's a big part that we just stole from Pathfinder.
Although keep in mind that in traditional Bionicle sense, most weapons are going to function like weapons within our world unless they are a Toa tool. You cannot channel, if you've got a wooden stick, don't expect to be able to channel fire through it.
Yeah, Toa tools are different than weapons. You don't start with a Toa tool. That's equivalent to a magic item in D&D. You start with a Kanohi. You don't start with a Toa tool.
Yeah, Toa tools I think will probably start base at +2s, more or less.
Yeah,
that is, of course, fungible. That is not a.
That's not a guarantee. We haven't. That's something that needs to be fleshed out more. But
yeah, we need. I know that a while back we made a chart for how to roll for a Toa tool. We might need to review that before the red box is complete. Because that was months ago when I first did the initial draft of that.
Yep. So, any more forum questions?
I think that's pretty much most of them, actually.
Oh.
There was a list of more in-depth questions that I answered very in-depth on the forum, but they're more about how we operate and internal stuff. Not really something that I really want to dive into here. If you want to, you can go to the forums and read my response. It's very long-winded and very transparent.
Forums.redstargames.org.
Yeah, forums.redstargames.org. In the Q&A section, you can find it there.
To answer from the YouTube chat, Louise, which I think she already knows this, but I'm going to answer it anyways, just for the sake of repetitions. Skakdi are one of the races that we do have on the docket to eventually be released.
But they are not in the red box.
Do we have permission from Louise to use Cam Tahoe as an NPC?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
I think that she would love nothing more than to have Cam Tahoe as an NPC.
Do we really need her permission for that? She'd be ecstatic.
Yeah.
And she's been
God.
talking about her this whole time, so
Oh, that's true.
So yeah.
yeah, we should probably elaborate that Kantaho was one of the female characters from the original playtest. So
Yeah, she was the female Toe of Fire. She wore a Kanohi Kakama, and she was a very interesting character, and we'll leave it at that.
promiscuous.
She was.
Hmm.
She was great.
Yeah.
Barden asks a great question in the Twitch chat, asking if we will be releasing instructions for our pre-made Toa characters. It is something that we are considering, but I don't think any of us have ever made instructions for a custom creation, so we'll have to figure out how to do that. But
So I did discuss this actually with Swirt, and he gave me a whole spiel about how expensive it supposedly is to do it in the exact style of Lego, but I think we can probably do 95% of it with Photoshop or whatever. So
Well, and there's also an issue of, like,
Not all the parts are available in LED or Stud.io.
also, if you look at the art, you might notice some parts are scaled a bit differently. If you built them exactly as done in the art, it won't look as good as the art. I can guarantee you that. Like,
yeah, probably not now.
Yeah,
that's the
definitely-
magic of artwork.
I do not mock them before I draw them. I just draw them.
Yeah, he does not mock them before he draws them. He draws them based on memories of parts,
Yep, pretty
and
much.
descriptions given by us.
Also, I messed up. It's not forums, it's forum.redstargames.org. I'm sorry.
singular.
Way to go, Hector.
Sorry.
You
To
also have
yeah.
There's also
Get
a
what
lot
you
of
pay for, man.
there's also a lot of colors that don't exist in parts, or parts that don't exist in colors that they are in the mocks, or in the characters at least. So yeah, releasing instructions. We don't know about that. We've talked about it. It's been discussed. We'll see what happens with that. We are talking about releasing character sheets for them eventually.
Yep.
It won't be until we are a little ways into the show because players want to have fun first.
That, and if we've got some tricks up our sleeves in our character sheets, we don't want to announce that before they're utilized.
Exactly. We
Yeah.
want people to do their cool stuff before everyone knows about their cool stuff.
Yep. And also, I see Imruki Toa of Fire is posting in the chat their names for the elemental masks. As far as I'm aware, we already have chosen names for those.
Yeah, we've derived names for all of our masks, elemental masks included, from the previously mentioned Tolkien dictionary for the Matoran language.
Yeah.
We do have some masks that I have not gotten around to name, but most of them, I think all of them are.
There's another question, chat. If you like homebrew ideas enough, will you be incorporating them into the core rulebook? I mentioned this earlier. If we like your homebrew enough, yeah, we might make it part of our system. We might tweak it a bit, probably. If it involves naming a mask, it'll probably be renamed because we're obsessed with the Matoran Dictionary by Tolkien. We like that internal consistency, so... but other than that, we are open to accepting homebrew if it's in line with the general idea of the system, and even if not, you can use your homebrew and do whatever you want.
Yeah, I think a very core philosophy of the game is just freedom, like player freedom, which I think is a very fundamental ideology for Bionicle to begin with.
Just Lego in general. Do what you want. Don't let anyone stop you. And if they stop you, just make an illegal connection.
Yeah, if they stop
Yeah.
you, just stick tiles in the bottoms of a brick.
It stresses the parts! And also Joseph is asking for links to the Matoran dictionary, so I'm gonna
I
go
can give
fetch
you a
that
link
for
to
him.
Yeah,
I
we should
got
have
it.
those. We should have those on hand. So
I can grab that link.
As the
It's
HR
in my
representative,
Google Drive, so...
I will be right back. I need to go grab something. Save any 3D modeling related questions for me. It should only take a
Okay.
few minutes.
did we cover the topic of... I know Lectonic posted a question earlier from somebody. Let me find it. Okay, let's see. TL Lacan or T Lacan. Are there plans for an asymmetrical Great Matadu or Akaku? I think... Did we answer this one already? We did?
No, we didn't.
Okay, so on that subject, I'm speaking for Petrus here. we have no plans right now to revisit masks that already have an official set form, unless they're things like the Noble Mana masks. So as far
Literally
as
said
making,
save questions for him.
Yes.
well, too bad.
Petra, save any 3D modeling questions for me. Immediately reads the 3D modeling question.
It's been there. It's been there for like, I don't know, almost an hour now.
Yeah, I'm
We
sorry.
didn't get to it.
Yeah, there was a lot going on about the characters that would be released and stuff like that, so it just got lost in the wave of questions.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
there are two questions here that I can't answer without Petrus being here now.
Here's a link to that Matoran dictionary. I know it says abridged. It's the full dictionary, I swear. Abridged is just a more dictionary word than complete.
Compiled, yeah.
Condensed.
Compiled. It's been abridged by me. Nothing was left out.
Yeah, more or
I'm
less. So I do have one quick aside, kind of unrelated to most of the questions. We have worked out giving masks to every named Canon Toa that did not previously have one listed. And I do want to expressly fill out the Mangai roster for everyone real quick and state that within our canon, Toa Naho, Toa Mangai of Water wore a Mask of Charisma, and the Toa Mangai of Stone wore a Kanohi Pakari.
Yeah, and in the chat, people are saying that the link to the abridged Matoran dictionary is broken.
I'm working on it.
Way to go, Mana.
Good
Please
job.
don't stop.
It has to do with the character limit.
Oh, Petrus, you're back?
Yeah, I was just grabbing a Coke.
Okay, go to the Q&A. Please go to the Q&A channel. There are two questions there that I'm trying to refrain myself from answering now.
Yeah.
Boy needs his beverage.
Are they from T. Lee Khan and a Sad Sangeli?
Yep.
Okay, we can answer these really quickly. T. Lee Khan says, are there plans for Symmetrical, Great Matatu, or Akaku? Probably not. Those have both been released by other people, and we don't really need to go across treaded ground. It's kind of the same reason that we're not, we're doing 3 different versions of a Kowalski, but we're not going to release the original Kowalski, just because. And then a Sad Sangeli says, do you plan on making a Cardinui Hal, Bakari, and Cow Cow anytime soon? I have Matoran mocks of Radiac, Gavla, and Kirop. We are considering doing regional variants for certain masks, so we will consider those. There's no guarantee on those, though.
Oh,
And
yeah.
on the, I guess, Telecon, are we naming the rest of the? Yeah, we're good. Any team member we are planning on naming eventually. So it's going to include the man guy. It's going to include the Kordak. It's going to include everybody.
Everything and everyone will be named.
We are going to go Tolkien up in this bitch.
Swear jar.
We don't believe in not having things named. You need
For-
names, gosh dang it.
For every time that Lihari serves, you have to donate $1 to our Patreon.
We don't have one yet. Stop talking about
I
it.
do, or
That's a
everyone else,
joke!
because I can make us some money real fast if it's everybody else.
You know, like, I think it's Lahari has to pay money.
Yeah.
I've already paid so much money. Okay, fine.
Just start a coin jar.
Backlog of, like, what we've actually paid Umachu already?
Oh, I think it's got to be somewhere upwards of $400.
Probably.
Yeah, but I put a few hundred in, so.
Yeah, no, you have
reinvesting.
done as well. It's that $400 is a discount, we'll say.
Let's
also
instead of a
was well worth it.
Patreon, let's just go with GoFundMe.
No.
Oh, God.
Oh.
Please don't say those things.
Go to Karzani.
Fine,
Maybe we
fine,
should fund
fine.
a 40-episode game show and only release 12 episodes. Hint, hint.
So, what other questions do we have? Because we are about 10 minutes shy of the 2-hour mark.
It's actually went,
It's been 2 hours? Oh, Jesus.
yeah,
This has been
this
2
went
hours.
way longer than I thought it was going to. Thanks for the questions, guys. You saved our confidence.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
So, as for the next 5 minutes, we're going to keep the chat open to questions, but after that point, we will not be reading any. And For the time after that, we're pretty much just going to be breaking down. How about?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good to me.
So, are we good on the forum questions?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was everything from the forums.
Yeah, we've got all the forum questions already.
I think that there was a question from earlier that I don't know if we've answered, and it was the there it is. Someone just essentially redid it. The release dates for the Red Box and the show.
We have no set dates for those. We have kind of an open time that we'd like to try and release those, but we aren't going to commit to anything unless it's like absolutely set in stone.
So the release dates.
One thing we learned from the launch is that people get hyped really easy, and we're trying not to.
Yeah. The thing about release dates is if we can't commit, if we can't make sure that it's going to be out at that exact time, then we tend not to try and release them. We found out that announcing things on internet projects tends to kill them. So we try not to announce unless something is absolutely ready. We want to get Redbox out before the end of this month. That is what has already been announced. That's what we are trying our hardest to do. We're working on it continually right now.
Paperwork sucks.
Yeah,
Paperwork
we're
really
trying to
sucks.
get... The mechanics exist. We are trying to put them in a readable format, because right now they're all spread across a Google spreadsheet.
Yeah, our
25 different sheets. So
I know that our bestiary kind of looks insane right now because it's just like an endless row of just random numbers, and I understand it, and the people working on the bestiary understand it, but if we present you that same information in that same way, it might melt your head. So
yeah,
Thank you,
similarly,
Krasix, for filling out the flavor text on that, by the way.
Yep.
Yeah. Similarly, the core mechanics of the game currently only existed in mine and Lahari's head because we haven't written them down, because it's just like this thing from 5th edition, that thing from Pathfinder. So we need to write all those down, because we don't expect you to get the Pathfinder book or the 5th edition book and just know these things. We're trying to get it all written down. We want that out by the end of the month. The show is a bit harder, because the show involves a lot of scheduling. I can tell you that we're planning on getting character videos out for all the characters before the show is a thing. There should be a cinematic trailer that we're planning after all the character videos. And we're trying to get those out on a schedule that we are hoping to announce soon, so that then we can hold us to it and we can keep to that schedule. The show we will be not doing until after that. We're trying to get it figured out so we can get the scheduling, but we're trying to get 8 people into one schedule, and they live in various different places across the world. Lahari lives in Bahrain, which is 9 hours off of what my time is, so it's very...
On top of, working a deployment schedule, which is just not fun.
So...
Yeah. Something else I'm just going to say real quick is, let's go ahead. We have quite a few questions now. We're going to go ahead and close the questions, and we're going to finish answering the ones we have here. So...
So, Wolf, yes, Sad is in our team now, by the way. Just a simple question right there.
Yeah, Sad Sankiel is on the team.
Any release dates for more live streams like this? I mean, I'm unsure when will be... Okay, Matt, looks like Umatu already...
Yeah, I definitely want to do more regular art streams that you guys can just hang out.
Yeah.
And,
if people are
efficient
interested
designs.
in doing like a character creation live stream, like the moment the Red Box is released, I would love to do that, because I like making characters, yo.
You know, Mana, seeing as my character's like the closest one to being done and I'm always around, I could probably do that with you.
Mavki's Kodawi's pretty much done.
Yeah, exactly. So if you help me with the rest of Mavki, there you go.
Yeah, it's like, so we could actually pull up the character sheet and fill it out together with chat.
And you guys, and you all get to see it, which I'm really happy, I'm proud of it, and I want to show it off.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna have to be there, of course, because...
Yeah.
Twitch makes a D&D character. Oh, that'll go great.
Oh, God.
Twitch,
we
YouTube,
can make
and
that.
Facebook.
We can make that character I pitched. That's just Toe of Fire with a Kato that just Nova Blasts everyone. All they do, 100% Nova Blast all the time. Anyways,
Wait, can we make a toe of bass drops? That's just the toe of sound with a Kato.
No.
we don't have sound yet.
Oh God.
That's basically the freaking sound powers from Naruto.
Lol. Yeah.
One thing that I'd love to do at some point, because internally I've been known for taking the basic baseplate that Umatu uses to make his mask drawings and making it worse. So it would be, I think it would be interesting to involve a Twitch chat with that. Say, okay, what do you guys want to see me draw horribly? And then I would go for it. And then we could even model it if we wanted to.
Yep.
So
Yeah, so we're hoping to do more live events. That is true. Can we move on to the next question? Whatever it was.
let's see
Okay,
here.
so it's
Next
coming
up.
from the YouTube chat now because I think we just got into all of the Twitch stuff. I think this one has already been answered, but I'm going to start with it anyway, just to get a grasp of... Oh, and this is by TL8 Hikan?
TL
Yeah. Just to get a grasp of the power levels, what is the level cap, and what levels would you put the Metru at which they became Turaga?
There's no level cap.
no
Yeah,
upwards
there's
level
no
cap,
level.
but there is a cutoff point for each archetype.
Yeah.
Which is level
We
6.
talked about archetypes only go to level 6. There is no level cap. The level cap is when your DM gets tired of your crap.
Yeah.
As far as the Toa Metru, Lahari, you want to take that one?
You know what? I don't really have a good way to spitball that right off the top of my head without having actually sat down and looked through everything. But I would
would
be
say-
willing to place them somewhere between level 16 and level 20, just because their story is already done. They've done.
They
a whole
weren't
bunch
Toa
of
for very long either.
No, yeah, they weren't.
Yeah, so they could have been low level. I mean, it really is very subjective on how much you want to put on Makuta, honestly. Because, I mean, he's the biggest bad they fought. Or I guess...
Yeah.
They didn't even know their
Drax.
mask powers until the
I'd
end
like
of the
to. I'd
story.
like to point out that the most insane villain in the entire story got beat out by one of the weakest because he kept hitting himself in the head with rocks.
Yeah, like the Toa Metru didn't know their mask powers until the very end of their story, so they couldn't have been that powerful.
Yeah. If I was going to be very very stingy with that, I would say they were like level 8, but that's just because I'm like, well, I mean, they were only Toa for like this amount of time, but they did fight Makuta, so they were probably way more powerful than that. They probably actually started around like level 3, honestly.
I mean, they were really old Matoran, and Matoran can still gain levels, so you
That's
know.
true. So
Yeah,
they probably started
ooh.
at like somewhere between level 3 and 6 and went to a higher level. They also had their Hordika arc, which Hordika rules will be a thing, not in the red box. Just preempt
Hopefully-
that question.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get that to you soon, but don't expect it within like this month or maybe not even the next couple.
Since Mata mentioned it, we will have Hordika Mask on the market soon. And by soon, I mean very soon. So keep an eye out. for
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, people already figured out that the mystery maskin that you were drawing was the Hordika road.
Yeah, I had no like disillusions that they would figure that out.
Well, I mean, I mentioned it by name even before.
Bionicle
that,
fans are smart. Also, Lahari, I want to point out that someone,
Well-
when he was drawing the road, said they love Hordika-styled masks. So, there was a debate whether or not we should do Hordika masks in the
Yeah, have you seen
Hordika
mask
head way.
posters? Mask posting has
I
been
won.
talking about Hordikas a lot.
Yep.
There's an
People
interest.
told
Bunch
you,
of
it's a
furries.
market no one's broken into, man.
Alrighty, guys.
So, to get on the next question, what non-canon masks do we have planned? Well, I don't think that we would be able to give you a complete list, like no matter what. But as far as let's see here, we have.
Can I mention one
one
very
right
specifically?
Sure.
The one that I would like to mention is the Mask of Duplication. It's the fixed version of the Motrek.
Yes. God.
It's the Motrek that doesn't screw with time.
Yep. what I
So that is a thing that it's heck, I could even tell you how it works mechanically, but I'm not going to because that's spoilers and it's not in the playtest. Unless we want to put it there. But
Let's do it.
Yeah.
we'll find out eventually. But there is a fixed version of the Motrek. So if you're a DM and you have a player who really wants to play the Motrek, maybe steer him towards this mask because this mask doesn't bork time
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Okay, I believe.
and also is less powerful.
Next
go ahead,
question. Joseph asks, how can I get into helping out with development? I'm pretty good at writing. Message me. You can find me
talk to
easily
us.
on
Message Diggy, message the Red Star Facebook page,
Yep.
post on our forums, try and get in contact with us on Discord.
Slide into our DMs on Twitter.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, there are plenty of ways you can try and get in contact with us, and then eventually you'll end up talking to Lahari, and he'll decide whether or not he likes you.
Lek, you were saying something?
Oh, I was just going over that next question. So,
Mhm.
so
So,
What's the next question?
Imruki Toa of Fire asks, does this game take place in a specific time period in Bionicle, or can it be played at any point in history of Bionicle?
Do
Our
what you want.
campaign will be taking place in a specific time setting, but if you have the willpower to go and create whatever setting you want and play within that, totally
Yeah.
do that. We'd love to see what you come up with.
Yeah,
Mhm.
our show is set about 100 years after the Matoran Civil War. The red box is actually geared for just the setting of Metro Nui. We're going to include Vaki in that. That is a thing that changed during this live stream.
Thank
But-
you, everybody.
Yeah, you asked for it, we gave it to you. But so yeah, the red box will be centered around Metro Nui. Feel free to homebrew to anywhere you want. We will eventually release campaign settings for.
Hopefully.
We plan to eventually release campaign settings for the entire Matteron universe.
Mhm.
Mhm.
There might be groups like you might have the entire leg chains or like an entire leg chain be one group campaign setting. That's like a swashbuckling campaign setting or something. But we plan to release the entire Matteron universe eventually
And maybe even beyond.
and beyond. Yeah,
Ro-
question marks.
Beyond.
Mhm.
Does the game itself come with its own setting, or is that left to the Who Has Your campaign? That's more or less the same question. So, yeah, basically, it kind of is left up to the DM.
Just to clarify, Lahari, are we including like a little adventure module within the red box? I can't remember.
After that's going to be released a little bit afterwards. So,
Okay, so yeah, you'll have something to play with if you're having a hard time coming up with some ideas for a setting.
The pre-gens in that are going to be the Toa Metro, so, they have a story. Try to play around with that.
already.
Mhm.
all right. So,
Looks like we're at the
I
2 hour
think
mark.
that is everything.
My hand is tired.
Okay. Well, I guess Matt's hand being tired is more or less the end of it. So,
Mhm.
if you guys have any other questions, please do refer them to our forums. That is probably the easiest way for us to get at them within a reasonable amount of time.
And we will be posting an SAQ soon, hopefully.
Yes.
Yes.
So, with that, I think that concludes the very first Red Star Games live stream.
Which went out with hey, we did pretty good. That was pretty
That
good.
went better than I expected. We went for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Rocky
almost
beginning,
exactly.
but solid.
thank you to
Suck it,
any of
Brian.
our viewers from YouTube and Twitch, and if Facebook ever came back.
Oh, Facebook was fine
Yeah,
the
they did.
entire time.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Just
I
no
checked
one was
on it.
on there. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah, no one was on there, but
it worked.
it's still a
Proof
successful.
of concept. Anyway, so yeah, thank you guys for coming. I'm actually going to set up a raid of a Twitch streamer I think you guys will enjoy, so that way you have somewhere to go, listen to some music after just listening to us drone on and on. So,
thrown on forever.
yep. If you
Mhm.
don't know him, he's the 8-bit drummer. We'll be doing that right after.
Yeah.
Right
And
as
this stream
the-
will be on our channel, right?
yeah.
We're uploading
This
this to the
will
channel.
this will be processed and uploaded to YouTube at some point.
Yep, and it
Sweet,
should
so you can
be on Twitch as well for about 14 days, I think, is what they do.
Yeah, I think it lasts 2 weeks before it goes off.
Mhm.
Anyway, we're gonna go now. Thank you guys again for stopping by, and we'll see you in the next live stream.
Auf Wiedersehen.
So yeah.
Hi.